Welcome to Three Mics, One Truth. I'm your moderator, John Jameson. Tonight, we're bringing you real conversations from both sides of the aisle. No shouting matches, no echo chambers, just sharp ideas and tough questions. Here's how it'll work. 2 guests, 2 perspectives, 1 table. I'll keep us on track and make sure everyone gets a fair shot to speak and step in if things need a fact check or a reset. Our goal isn't to have one side win, but for you to walk away with a clear picture of the issues that shape your life. Let's get into it. The topic tonight is the U.S. military's withdrawal in 2021 from Afghanistan. Today joining us is Dr. Jack Jekyll and Dr. Jackie Hyde. Thank you for both being here. Let's start with the introductions. Dr. Jack Jekyll is a foreign policy analyst with a PhD in international relations from UC Berkeley and has worked at the State Department since the Nixon administration. Thank you for being with us tonight, Dr. Jekyll.
Thank you, John. I'm glad to be here.
And Dr. Hyde has a PhD in international relations with a focus on politics from UC San Diego and has worked for over a decade in various humanitarian organizations and is currently the president in the UN Security Council.
Hello, I'm glad to see you, and I'm honored to be invited.
Now, Dr. Hyde, what are your views on the withdrawals from Afghanistan?
Well, John, it's important to note that the consequences were quick and immediate and incredibly devastating. General Mark Milley reports that the Taliban had seized control of over 210 of Afghanistan's 419 district centers as we grew closer to the completion of the withdrawal. That's about half the country in a matter of weeks. The chaos led to escalating violence, which is exactly why we had to launch Operation Allies Refuge, to relocate even just a fraction of the Afghans who had collaborated with American forces. It was a rapid, uncontrolled collapse.
For our viewers who are unaware, General Mark Milley was the chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff from 2019 to 2023. Now, what about you, Dr. Jekyll?
Well, John, I completely disagree with Dr. Hyde here. In my view, withdrawing from Afghanistan was certainly the right move to make. Our troops had been fighting an increasingly hopeless forever war with no clear path to victory in sight. Even after maintaining a military presence in Afghanistan for 20 years and spending $2.3 trillion, we were still no closer to ensuring the long-term stability of a democratic Afghan government or defeating the Taliban. The fundamental weakness of our presence in Afghanistan could be clearly seen in 2021 when the Taliban easily overran most of our possessions. We needed to withdraw our forces when we still could, John.
Now, Dr. Hyde, this question is for you. Critics of the withdrawal argue that the U.S. left with too much haste and abandoned an estimated of $7.12 billion in assets that the Taliban were able to reuse. What is your response to that?
A Pentagon report confirmed about $7.12 billion in equipment, over 40,000 vehicles and 300,000 weapons was left behind and is now controlled by the Taliban. We didn't just abandon the Afghan people. We essentially handed a fully operational military arsenal to a terrorist organization. You can't put a price on that immoral failure.
Now, Dr. Hyde paints a picture of total collapse that empowered the enemy. How do you respond to that claim and leaving behind billions in equipment was an avoidable failure, Dr. Jekyll?
Well, if we want to talk about failure, John, then let's look no further than our disastrous role in Afghanistan during the 20 years leading up to this moment. The war in Afghanistan was nothing more than a long string of strategic failures and an inability to fulfill any of the goals we set out to do. And if we want to talk about empowering the enemy, then let's talk about the catastrophic decision to fund vicious, cruel, untrustworthy militia groups even worse than the Taliban. It's no wonder that we weren't able to get anything done in Afghanistan. This is exactly why it was necessary to withdraw our troops. Was it unfortunate that we had to leave behind so much equipment? Yes, it was. Was the withdrawal carried out perfectly? No, it wasn't. But remember, we had already spent $2.3 trillion on this conflict without anything to show for it. It made sense to withdraw when we can without losing any more money, resources, or American lives.
Dr. Hyde, we see a loss in women's suffrage since the U.S. has left Afghanistan. How would you respond to that?
The term gender apartheid is incredibly significant because it's not just about discrimination. It's about a systematic, institutionalized state policy designed to remove women from public life entirely. Since the takeover, the Taliban have issued edicts to strip women of their rights to education past the 6th grade, employment, and even basic freedom of movement without a male chaperone. Women in Afghanistan now suffer from one of the world's highest rates of gender-based violence. What do you have to say about that?
Well, although what Dr. Hyde brought up is concerning, have you considered that maybe if it's not our country, it shouldn't be our problem?
Well, that's all the time we have. Tonight here on 3 Mics, 1 Truth. I'd like to thank our guests, Dr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, for a thoughtful and candid conversation. Even when we strongly disagree, you showed us that it is possible to debate tough issues without losing respect for one another. I'm John Johnson, and this has been 3 Mics, 1 Truth. Thank you for spending your time with us. Stay informed, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.